novamusic.com.
Hi, I'm Chris Martirano, here with Nova Musik. I'm here to show you the Nord Lead A1, available as a keyboard and a module. Awesome virtual analog synthesis and very, very cool features. The Nord Lead A1 is a 26-voice virtual analog synthesizer with some very, very cool live features. It's got a new function called Mutate sound, where you can take a very simple waveform. In this case, I have a sawtooth wave selected, and by just hitting the Mutate button, I can get a nice variation. Here was the original. Again, if I mutate it, each time I'm going to get something different. Mutate it again. If I like that, I can say, ooh, I'll just write that to memory. Really quick way to get into a sound. In addition to the things you'll find on an analog synthesizer, such as great oscillators featuring square, saw, sine, triangle, they also have some extended analog waveforms that are really very, very cool sounding. They've modeled them after some classic synthesizers, some fixed pulse waves, and then some waves that set you up if you're creating an organ or a bell or a digital or electric format type sound. And they're all labeled clear on the front panel, easily accessible from a single knob right under your oscillator section. In addition to the cool filters that you'd expect, like the 12 dB and 24 dB low-pass resonant filter, there's a ladder resonant filter, also modeled after an older analog, very powerful instrument, and a TB resonant filter, modeled after another company's filter. Then there's a BP bandpass filter and a high-pass filter. There's keyboard tracking for 1/3 or 2/3 or across the entire octave. So you have a great filter section here with drive, giving you a little bit of distortion, resonance that can self-oscillate, frequency cutoff, of course, and then your envelopes are ADR, attack, decay, release, and then you have the same for your filter and also for your amplifier. You've got an LFO that you can modulate from a master clock. You also have a very cool unison mode that's really very fat, which we'll listen to also. And then you've got the ability to also assign that same master clock to your arpeggiator and also to your delay, so you can create some very interesting rhythmic effects. But the cool new features they added beyond the analog is this like button. So if I hold the like button down, I see in the display L1. This is representing what I started from. So I'm now going to save that. So I have like 1. Now like 2 is going to be an edited version. So think of these as additional takes building on the same patch. So we have that patch. I'll add some resonance. Open the filter up. I'll like that. So now I've created a version. I also want to go and now make a further change, something very dramatic. Maybe I'll change the oscillator shape. I'll go to a sawtooth. And maybe I'll add an LFO. Might decide I like that. So now I can go back and step through these various steps that I've created along the way. Very, very cool. And I can store up to 50 of these, if you will, snapshots. And that's stored with the patch. So if I save the patch, that's now saved with it. I also have very simple tools for copy. If I want to copy that and paste it, I'm now pasting the first synthesizer onto one of the 3 remaining synthesizer locations for a total of up to 4 synthesizers. I'll turn both of them on now. I'll tune the second one. The flashing LED tells me which one I'm working on, so I'll tune that. Maybe I'll make a chord. And I'll paste it again. Turn all 3 on. They really were forward thinking in that each one of these 4 synthesizers is completely independent. All its controls apply only to it, each individual one. I'm going to bend pitch right now. On the blinking one, I'll make it go an octave. The second synthesizer, I'll pitch bend, I'll make it go down a 5th. And the third, I'll make it go down a 3rd. This gives you some really cool sounds. If I get rid of all the release on the sounds, make it a very tight sound. Maybe I don't want to edit them independently. They have a multi-function, multi-focus button that'll allow me to edit everything at one time. Okay, so now we have this kind of simple copy 3 times over. Let's change each one dramatically. We'll leave the first one as it is. If we want to audition only one synthesizer, a double button press shows me only that. So I have unison mode on. Maybe for this I'll brighten it up a little bit. And maybe I'll put a little bit of a delay on this. Maybe the second one, I want to have very kind of biting, so I'll put a little drive, change the frequency of the filter, put a little resonance. Maybe I want that to sweep very slow from an LFO. So I'm just adjusting the depth now, how much I want it to raise. Maybe the third synthesizer, I really want sync, hard sync. Maybe I want to modulate that from the mod wheel. They have this very cool morphing technology that Nord has used in virtually all of their products except the organs. A double button press of the morph control for the wheel allows me now to assign any of these controls to the wheel from a minimum and maximum. The minimum value is where the control was set. The maximum is where I'm going to turn it. And I can audition that. So now I've assigned that to the wheel. And I might want to put a little bit of, maybe a little chorusing on this. Now we'll put them all together, and we get. Okay, now I'm going to use the fourth synthesizer and apply an arpeggiator to it. I want the arpeggiator to go in an up-down pattern. I also have a random pattern. In fact, I'll choose random. And I'll set a rate, and I want to set the rate by the master clock. I'm going to set it to 16th notes. I'm going to put a little filtering on it. Just the decay. Put a little bit of reverb on it. And I want to put that under the morphing control of the wheel as well. So now as I open the wheel, I want to open the filter. I want to also open the decay. Maybe I want the reverb really wet before I move the wheel, and then I can get it even wetter. So I'll have it very wet, and actually I'll have it dry up. That'll be cool. So now if I put these all together, I have a hold control, so I can just hold a single oscillator or a single synthesizer. This one now will sustain. The rest won't. Just putting some of these performances together is a lot of fun. If you're doing something even for sci-fi or for scaring tactics, here's a heartbeat with a little bit of kind of theremin voice. Hear what any of these one synthesizers are doing. I just double button press so I can hear. This is my heartbeat. I can change frequency. This is fading in from the wheel, bringing in a pad. Maybe I want it a little louder. Maybe I want a different kind of a pad. Something a little more animated. Maybe with a bit of a arpeggiator on it. Maybe I want to morph the first one and turn the filter back down as I open the wheel. Open the wheel. Here's one that shows off some of the dance kind of application of the instrument. I'm Chris Martirano. Thanks again for watching this video on the Nord Lead A1. For any questions or any information that you need, please contact a team member at Nova Musik.
NovaMusic.com